From the day Zenaia held that pregnancy test strip and saw two red lines standing like traffic lights, she knew her content game was about to enter another level. Not ordinary level, but global, international, baby mama influencer soft life level. And why not? After all, she had conquered all the other phases, from skincare reels to slapping haters with makeup tutorials. From fake fainting challenges to luxury home tours she did inside rented apartments, she was the queen of clapbacks, the duchess of edits, and the overall best in make it aesthetic even if you are crying inside. So naturally, she believed that motherhood would be another feather to her content crown. She went to show her husband Tony that day and said, "Babe, we are about to have the most beautiful baby in Nigeria. You better start working on your pot belly because this child will trend from womb to walking." Tony, who had just returned from night shift and hadn't slept, simply blinked twice and said, "Congratulations, my love. Let me just close my eyes for 5 minutes." That 5 minutes turned into snoring, but Zenaia didn't mind because she was already on Canva designing the pregnancy reveal poster. By the next morning, she had arranged a full maternity shoot with drone, dry eyes, a stylist, and soft violin in the background. She posted it online with the caption, "A new life has begun inside me. No filter needed. The glow is of God." Her followers screamed. Some fainted and some said, "God, when?" Even the brands that used to ignore her started sliding into her DM. "Hi Zenaia, can we send you our special prenatal waist beads for a collab?" "Hi Queen, we just launched a luxury organic pregnancy tea that tastes like heaven and honey. Can you do a sip and walk video with it?" And her head began to swell, but her belly began to grow too, and that belly became her new ministry. Every week came with new pregnancy reels, not normal reels but high budget productions. One time, she posted a video titled "Baby Mama Vibes," where she wore 6 inches heels, carried a basket of plantains, danced to a slowed down version of "Who's Your Guy," and still had energy to wink and blow kiss at the end. People in the comments said, "This woman doesn't run on blood, she operates on a full battery." She started calling herself Mama Soft and introduced a special corner in her house called the Bomb Lounge, where she would lie down in flowing robe with golden anklets and pretend to be resting while talking to the camera like, "Hey bumpies, just checking in. Baby is kicking but mommy is glowing. Soft life or nothing." Tony, on the other hand, became the unpaid cameraman, massage therapist, night snack runner, and ring light adjuster. He didn't complain much, but every night he would look at Zenaia and ask, "Are you sure this is normal pregnancy or are we raising a TikTok avatar?" And Zenaia would laugh and say, "You don't understand. Baby content is premium content. You thank me later." However, his concern grew when Zenaia hired a pregnancy vlog manager named Feyintola, whose job was to remind her when to cry for the camera, when to laugh, and when to say "mothers are superheroes" in a British accent. One day, Tony caught Feyintola whispering to Zenaia, "Ma, let's try fake contraction on camera. Your followers will go mad." That night, Tony nearly packed his bags and ran to his brother's house. But that didn't stop Zenaia from doing her pregnancy content. In fact, as the months passed and as the bomb got bigger, her drama matured. She began doing weekly gender prediction games online. First, she said it was a girl. Then next week, she said it was twins. Then triplets. Then later, she said, "God is hiding the gender from my enemies." And the strategy was working because her followers were hooked. One day, her mother-in-law called her and said, "Zenaia, I have been watching your videos. They are nice, but don't forget that babies are not for phone filters. You need to rest now because the real work starts after the land." But Zenaia smiled, blocked her on WhatsApp, and posted a cryptic quote on her status that said, "Not everyone clapping for you wants you to win. Sometimes the loudest clap comes from a hater." 1 week to her due date, Zendaya posted a dramatic reel of her rubbing her belly in the rain with a voiceover saying, "I don't know what kind of mother I'll be, but I know I'll be soft." That reel got over 1 million views, and CNN Africa reposted it with the caption, "Nigeria influencer redefines pregnancy with style." And even though her ankles were swollen like puff puff and she hadn't slept well in 9 days, she still showed up every day on Instagram Live to say, "Pregnancy is beautiful. I have never felt more like myself." The day labor started, Zendaya didn't even realize it at first because she was too busy recording a "What's in my hospital bag" luxury edition vlog. She had spread everything on the bed: the designer baby clothes, satin robe, organic nipple cream, anointing oil in a gold bottle, Bluetooth speaker, 4 wigs, 6 lip glosses, a framed photo of her maternity shoot, and her extra ring light because, in her words, "You never know when content will strike." Tony sat in the corner looking at her and taking his cereal quietly as he had given up trying to understand her. He asked, "Babe, shouldn't we add baby diapers and maybe wipes?" But Zendaya looked at him as if he was speaking Hebrew. "Tony, this is not poverty packing. This is an intentional curation." But just as she was recording the part where she said, "I'll be giving birth like a soft queen, not a warrior," her stomach did bagam. She paused, blinked, bent slowly and said, "Feyintola, did you feel that too?" Feyintola said, Ma, it's your womb, not mine." Just then, another sharp pain came. Zendaya screamed, held the bed frame and shouted, "Why is someone dragging my intestines?" Tony dropped his cereal and jumped up. "Babe, it's time. I think the baby is coming." Zendaya turned to Feyintola, refreshed the camera and started recording. "This is the content we have been waiting for." Feyintola started filming while Tony was panicking and calling the hospital. However, Zendaya wore the makeup while crying, then threw on a silk robe and shouted, "If this baby is coming, it must meet me glowing." At the hospital, the nurses came out to assist her in, but she was still giving instructions to Feyintola, "Zoom in when they say push, and please use that soft filter. I don't want to look like a mess." Well, by the time she reached 6 centimeter dilation, the soft life ended. Zendaya tore off her wig and flung it at Tony, slapped the nurse that asked her to breathe gently, bit her lower lip until it was swollen, and started screaming, "Who sent me to do this?" The doctor came in and said, "Ma, you are almost there. Just stay calm." Zendaya shouted, "Calm for where? Bring out the baby now. I will sign anything. Open me up. Pull it out. Just end this." She tried to hold Feyintola's hand, but ended up scratching her by mistake. Feyintola dropped the camera and ran to the hallway crying, "I am not doing again. This job is after my life." When the baby finally came out, there was a long moment of silence and everyone expected the usual soft newborn cry. But the baby came out with a wail that was so loud and sharp that the nurse carrying her nearly flung her into the air. Even the doctor said, "Jesus Christ, this one has the lungs of a lion. Did you connect Bluetooth to her throat?" The cry echoed off the wall, bounced into the ceiling, entered the corridor, and woke 2 other pregnant women who were sleeping. One woman in room 3 said, "God, I beg, delay my own. I am not ready now." Tony tried to carry the baby, but she screamed louder and he just stood there struggling to hold her in confusion. Zendaya, who laid on the bed, still exhausted from pushing, finally asked, Was that a trumpet or a cry?" One nurse leaned in and said, "Congratulations, madam. You have a very vocal daughter." Another one muttered under her breath, "Or a spiritual megaphone. Now you sabi o." They asked her the baby's name and Zendaya smiled weakly and said, "Her name is Echolet because her voice will echo through the nations." Tony turned his face and nearly wept. Feintola came back inside and whispered to Tony, "Sir, I think this baby came with Bluetooth. I heard the cry from the hospital gates." They did not vlog for the rest of that day as nobody remembered the camera again. Zenaia, who had planned to do a delivery day reel with slow music and sparkles, was instead lying half dead with a cracked voice and scattered hair nets. And as the night fell and the hospital became quiet, one sharp sound continued to bounce from wall to wall like a village alarm. It was baby Echolet's voice. It was only day one, no, but it seems like she was set to dethrone her mother as the new queen of drama. From the moment Zenaia and Tony stepped into the house with baby Echolet, they knew they had brought home more than a baby. They had welcomed a vocal hurricane wearing a diaper and holding a megaphone in her throat. The hospital staff smiled and waved goodbye to them like a celebrity couple, but in their minds, they were saying, "Please come and be going to your house with your megaphone baby." Zenaia opened the door with her pink baby seat, her royal silk robe and camera already rolling for her, coming home with our princess vlog. But just as she was about to say, "Hi guys," baby Echolet let out a scream that made the wall clock fall. Tony froze and Zenaia's phone dropped from her hand. The neighbor's dog started barking. Zenaia laughed nervously and said, "Oh, she's just adjusting to the house." That night, Zenaia dressed up in a matching pajamas with bunny ears and dressed baby Echolet in a fluffy pink onesie. She set up her ring light by the bedside and started filming. "Hi Bombies and new mommies. This is our first night together. So excited. Let's show the world what peaceful bonding looks like." Tony, who was already sweating from carrying baby bags and holding her while she cried, just nodded and climbed into bed. But the moment they turned off the lights, Echolet began. It started with one slow whimper, then another one. Then the full war cry began. This one wasn't normal crying, no. It was a cry with a thunder sound. It came from her soul and shook the air. Zenaia jumped up and said, "Is she okay? Why is she crying as if she saw something?" Tony carried her, walked around, bounced, sang lullabies, begged, whistled and even tried to bribe her with pacifier, but she screamed louder. Zenaia tried breastfeeding. Echolet sucked twice, frowned and pushed the nipple away, much like, "Leave me, let me cry." By 2 a.m., Zenaia was on the floor looking rough and confused. She turned to her husband, "Tony, this is not the child I ordered for." Tony was even too tired to reply. He was dozing on the floor with a thermometer in his hand. Every time they thought Echolet was sleeping and tried to lie her down gently, her eyes would snap open like Juju movie and she would cry louder than before. It was as if she was saying, "Put me down one more time and I will show you Pepper level 10. The next morning, Zenaia didn't post anything and her followers began asking, "Mama Soft, are you okay? No content today." But Zenaia was using one hand to hold Echolet and the other to scratch her sleep-reading eyes. Feintola, her vlog manager, came to visit with her laptop and light kit. "Ma, let's shoot new mom morning routine." But Zenaia stared at her with red eyes and said, "If you record me like this, you will disappear in this house." Feintola quietly packed her bag and left without saying goodbye. Meanwhile, baby Echolet was just getting started. It was safe to call her the head mistress of the crying ministry. She would cry when Zenaia changed her diaper. She would cry when Zenaia didn't change it fast enough. She would cry during bath time. She would cry after bath time. She would cry because she was hungry and also cry because she was full. The only time she didn't cry was when Zenaia was trying to sleep. Then she would giggle quietly, watch her mother's eyelids drop, and immediately she would scream directly into her ear. By the third night, Zenaia stopped wearing pajamas and switched to Tony's old t-shirts and wrapper. She stopped using cream, she stopped replying DMs, and she even stopped knowing what day it was. Tony suggested calling his mom to come and help, but Zenaia shook her head. "I blocked her because she gave me advice. I will unblock her tomorrow if I survive tonight. That night, baby Echolet cried so loudly that the estate security guard came to knock on the door. "Madam, sorry, we heard a distress cry. Hope no one is attacking you people." Zenaia opened the door with her wrapper dragging on the floor and replied, "Yes, someone is attacking me. She's very small. She weighs 4 kg and she lives here rent-free." Tony pulled her back inside and locked the door. Zenaia collapsed on the couch and cried, "I miss sleep. I miss my lashes. I miss peace. I miss me." At that moment, baby Echolet, who was dressed in a pink onesie with stars, smiled sweetly and released a loud scream. Tony picked up the remote, threw it at the window in confusion and shouted, "Let's just baptize her now. Maybe her cry will reduce when she's born again." By the 3rd week of bringing baby Echolet home, Zenaia knew she was no longer the slay queen. No, she had been dethroned. She was now just a wrinkled court jester, dancing to a tiny queen whose cry could shatter a wine glass. The once vibrant content creator who edited videos with classical piano playing in the background was now editing out baby screams at 2-minute intervals and using cotton wool to clean vomit off her phone screen. She had tried everything she knew, but nothing worked. Breast milk? No. Formula? Nope. Swaddling? She screamed as if they were folding her for shipping. They played white noise for her, but she cried even louder to compete with it. The day they put her in a rocking chair, it only made her angrier. Then, one day, or rather, one ungodly hour at 3:10 a.m., Zenaia, out of sheer exhaustion, leaned over to pick up a pack of wipes and accidentally played an old Nollywood movie that was downloaded on Tony's old tablets. It was My Husband's Secret Twin Part 3, a 2006 classic featuring a dramatic scene with the soundtrack. "Oh my love, where are you going? Don't leave me in this world alone." Miraculously, the moment the song played, baby Echolet froze and stopped crying. She blinked and tried to turn her head as if she was hearing an ancient prophecy. Zenaia paused in shock and Tony sat up. They stared at the baby. Baby Echolet blinked again and then she smiled. Zenaia pressed replay. The song started again. "Oh my love, where are you going?" Baby Echolet giggled and twisted her tiny hands. Zenaia screamed, "Tony, this is it. We found the antidote." She picked up baby Echolet and started dancing slowly to the song, stepping left and right like a backup dancer in an old Nollywood music drama. Baby Echolet rested her head and yawned. Tony collapsed to the floor in joy. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Patience Ozokwo." That night, Zenaia danced for 2 hours straight, singing along and swaying like a woman who had been possessed by the ancestors of Nollywood. But when she tried to stop and lie Echolet down, the scream returned. Not normal scream, nah. It was the "don't try me again" kind of scream that came with anger. Zenaia picked her back up, played the soundtrack again and started dancing. And that was how it officially began. By the 3rd night, Zenaia had memorized every single word of the song. She no longer even needed a tablet. She would sing it live. "Don't leave me in this world alone." And baby Echolet became addicted like a mini music detector in diapers. One evening, Zenaia dozed off while dancing. Well, baby Echolet woke up and gave her the kind of scream that made Tony shout, "My ears, oh! This girl has installed speaker box inside her lungs. Please perform for her." Zenaia started crying while dancing. "Tony, this is not motherhood though. This is captivity." Tony replied with his own tears. "Should we call a prophet or should we call a traffic warden?" Unfortunately for Zenaia, the news began to spread. First, her assistant found out. Then her siblings. Then it got to Twitter. One day, someone posted a video of Zenaia dancing with rapper, singing singing the Nollywood song off-key and holding her baby to her chest. The caption was, "From soft life to soundtrack life, Slay Queen becomes backup singer for her baby." The video went viral. One comment said, "This is what you get for glamorizing pregnancy as if it is one Bali vacation." Another said, "That baby was sent from the old Nollywood archives to humble you." But Zendaya didn't care anymore about public opinion. All she did now was to sing and dance in her sitting room like a mad woman at a theater rehearsal. At this point, her old followers started leaving in droves and her brand sponsors went silent. One of them sent a mail, "We are pausing the Baby Glow campaign for now. This isn't the aesthetic direction we envisioned." Zendaya replied, "Me too, I didn't envision this." By now, Zendaya had become known in the estate as the woman that sings to the baby with rappers and tears. People mocked her and some pitied her. But that week, Zendaya decided she would reclaim her throne. She would return to content and post something, anything, just to remind her followers that she was still alive and still fabulous. So, she set up her ring lights in the kitchen, powdered her face with baby powder because she couldn't find her setting spray, and she wore her least-stained robe. Baby Echolet was strapped to her chest in a carrier. Tony stood behind the camera and whispered, "Please don't provoke her. That baby has ears like motion detector." Zendaya nodded, took a deep breath, and then she went live. "Hi Bumpies, it's been a while. Motherhood has been a journey, very raw, very real, and very echoey." But before she could say another word, Baby Echolet screamed the "You forgot my soundtrack Abi" kind of scream. Zendaya panicked and Tony pressed play on the Nollywood song, "Oh my love, where are you going?" Zendaya smiled and began dancing on live. Sorry guys, she really loves the song. It calms her down. But the comments were already rolling in. Is this soft life or circles? Zendaya has finally entered remix motherhood. This baby is her karma and I am watching every minute or more. No amount of filter can hide that suffering. Zendaya tried to ignore them and started explaining how motherhood was a spiritual awakening, but halfway through her sentence, Baby Echolet yanked her earring off and threw it at the phone. The phone shook. Zendaya screamed and Baby Echolet screamed even louder. Tony shouted from behind, "Just end the life, abort mission," but Zendaya refused. No, they must see everything since they've started already. Let them see what I've become. Let them know Baby Echolet has conquered me. The life went on for 15 more chaotic minutes, featuring Zendaya crying and dancing at the same time, Baby Echolet removing her wig with one pull, and Tony sleeping and falling in the background while trying to bring baby wipes. By the time the life ended, over 87,000 people had watched it and bloggers wasted no time. By morning, Instagram was on fire. Tasha Glow, Zendaya's longtime influencer rival, posted a reel sipping tea with the caption, "If you use pregnancy for clout, don't cry when motherhood uses you for a joke." Tasha's followers immediately took it up from there and started a new hashtag, "Pray for Zendaya or pass popcorn." One of them commented, "I have been laughing since 3 a.m. That baby is the real influencer. Zendaya is just the stage." Another person posted side-by-side photos of Zendaya glowing in pregnancy, holding a wine glass, and the present Zendaya in wrapper holding Baby Echolet like hot fufu. It was captioned, "From champagne to chain reaction." Zendaya locked herself in the room and refused to come out. Tony knocked. "Babe, your phone is ringing non-stop." She cried. "Let it ring. Maybe it is Tasha calling to donate diapers." Then, just as Tony was about to say something, the power went off. The Bluetooth speaker died and Zendaya had just removed her wrapper to lie down. Baby Echolet blinked, paused, sniffed the air, and then she released a scream that sounded like a combination of ambulance, car alarm, and thunderclap. Zendaya ran mad. She picked up the baby, opened the wardrobe, and began dancing inside it while singing, "Don't leave me in this world alone." Baby Echolet smiled and Tony took a video. Later that night, While scrolling anonymously, Zenaia saw a tweet that broke her. It is one thing to lose yourself in motherhood, but it is another to broadcast the breakdown live with bad lighting. She quietly dropped the phone and cried, not because of the trolls, but because she finally realized that she didn't recognize herself anymore. It was no longer about making content or connecting with followers. She wasn't even connecting with her own self. She was just surviving in Echolet's world. That night, she told herself, I need to disappear for a while. I need to find myself before this baby cries me into madness. So, by 6 a.m. the next morning, Zenaia was gone without any drama, ring lights or wig. She simply disappeared. Tony woke up, stretched and called her name with one eye open. Babe, Zenaia, baby Echolet's diaper is full again. But no answer came. He sat up and saw Echolet in her cot, wide awake, giggling, but her mother was gone. He tried to call, but her line was switched off. His heart jumped, and for one scary moment, he thought, did my wife run away permanently? Did she drop the baby and japa? He rushed back to the bedroom, picked up Echolet and paced. It's fine, it's fine. Your mother has probably gone to buy something. But deep down, he knew Zenaia had finally reached her breaking point. Unfortunately, by noon, gossip blogs were already posting headlines. Slay Queen missing. Did she leave the baby behind? Where is Zenaia? Mental breakdown suspected. Echolet, the baby that slayed an influencer. People flooded Zenaia's last post with comments like, come back mama, don't let haters win. Is Echolet okay? Do we need to call child services? Girl disappeared like her edges. But Tony said nothing to anyone. He wasn't even sure what to say. He was now a full-time single father to a baby that cried as if she had loudspeaker anointing and only slept when she heard a ghostly Nollywood soundtrack from 2006. Meanwhile, Zenaia was in Abeokuta. Yes, Abeokuta. She had boarded an early morning bus from Lagos in disguise with hoodie, bonnet, big glasses and wrapper over jeans. She told no one except one person, her mother, younger sister Auntie Ronke, a retired nurse who had zero interest in Instagram. When Zenaia arrived, Auntie Ronke opened the door and said, see how you look like a mess. Enter, Joe. Zenaia dropped her bag and burst into tears. She cried for an hour. Not fake soft influencer tears, oh. This one was deep belly cry that removed kata and unposted trauma. When she was done, Auntie Ronke gave her hot amala and made her sleep the well-needed sleep that entered her bones. Hours later, she woke up confused, thinking baby Echolet was about to scream. But there was silence and she started crying from relief. Zenaia spent the next day doing absolutely nothing, eating mango outside the compound, bathing with bucket water and lying down while watching the clouds. As for Tony, he was fighting for his life. He tried everything. He played the soundtrack, danced and even called his mother. His mother came, stayed one night, but she left the next morning muttering, this is not a baby, oh. This is an ancestral town crier. Baby Echolet cried when Tony wore his trousers. She cried when he forgot his singlets. She cried when the sound volume was too low. She cried when it was too high. She cried when he looked happy. In fact, the house was upside down by now. There was milk on the ceiling and diapers on the TV, while the Bluetooth speaker was always charging. And then, after 2 days of vanishing, Zenaia called Tony and he picked up like a man who was seeing light after darkness. Babe, where are you? Are you okay? Baby Echolet has turned me to a refugee. Zenaia laughed. I am okay. I'm safe. I needed to find my mind before I lost it completely. I was drowning, Tony. He sighed. Me too. This baby is our wake-up call. There was silence between them for a moment. Then Zenaia said, I want to come home, not as an influencer, just as Zenaia, a woman, a mother and a human being. Tony smiled. We are waiting and she's currently screaming, oh, please bring holy water when you are coming. They both laughed. Zenaia returned the next day, and when she held Echolet again, the baby paused, looked up at her and smiled. Then she farted and did that face baby make that looked as if they were mocking you. Zenaia laughed so hard that she nearly fell. She had decided that since it was not possible to control the baby's cry, she would have to learn to understand her. That night, baby Echolet screamed as usual, demanding her Nollywood soundtrack and midnight dance. But this time, Zenaia didn't panic. She lifted her baby gently, pressed play and started dancing slowly as she moved left and right to the old heartbreak song that had become Echolet's personal anthem. She said to her baby, "You came to humble me and you did it well." 1 week later, Zenaia